Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Just 16 days away, boys. 16 days away from football time in Tennessee. I'm excited. Scrimmage number 2 in the books yesterday. Tennessee actually off today. They'll be back on the practice field Friday and Saturday. And before you know it, we're going to be in game preparation mode, getting ready for that first game against Virginia in Nashville. And we broke down the scrimmage last night on the live stream. If you missed it, go back and give that a watch. But one thing that we are consistently hearing about this football team is depth. That's across the board on defense, on offense. And that excites me because that's what separates Tennessee from some of the teams like Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, some of these teams that are competing for national championships. Tennessee needs that depth, and they're getting there. It excites me. You know, we've always known about Rodney Garner wanting to rotate guys on the defensive line. Brian Jean-Marie always going to rotate, probably 4 guys at the linebacker position. And now we're hearing that Tennessee could possibly be rotating guys in the secondary. That's how much depth they have. And I've said it time and time again. I think this defense takes a step in year 3 of the Josh Heupel era. But where are they at in the final preseason rankings going into year 3 of Josh Heupel's tenure at Tennessee? We're going to take a look at ESPN's article about the SP Plus rankings and see where Tennessee falls, and going to make some points. Kind of lays out a blueprint for some things that we can talk about here on the channel. We're going to get into it, but as always, do me a favor, guys, smash that thumbs up just below the video. You know the deal. It's quick, free, and easy, and it does help this channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't talk at you. We talk with you here. We are building a community of Tennessee fans right here on the Talkin VAWLS Network. If you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You're not going to miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Going to be live on Saturday, covering the live commitment of Camarion Franklin. Also, again, on Monday, we're going to be covering the commitment of Jordan Ross. Things look good for Tennessee there. I think that is one Tennessee could possibly get in the boat. Playing NCAA on Monday night, streaming live every Wednesday night. It's go time, but let's get into it. Let's talk about this article, again, from ESPN.com. It says here, college football's final preseason SP Plus rankings takeaways. Let's scroll down here, take a little bit of a look at it. It says the college football hierarchy for 2023 has taken on a pretty familiar look. Known heavyweights at the top, followed by a chaotic mess in this year's final preseason SP Plus projections. It's got Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, and Alabama up at the top. But I want to scroll down here. It says my final SP projections for 2023 as covered in previous pieces. Now, here's where we're going to take it step by step, and then we'll take a look and see where Tennessee falls. But the SP Plus projections, what are they based on? Well, the first thing is returning production. And I know, when you talk about this Tennessee football team, the national media, when they cover it, it's not about who's at Tennessee. It's about who is no longer here. And the first name out of your mouth is going to be Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt, right? Because how do you replace that production? Hendon Hooker throwing for 3,100 yards, almost 70% completion percentage, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Absolute joke that he was not included in New York for that Heisman Trophy presentation. But also you look at Jalen Hyatt, right? 67 catches, 1,200 yards, almost 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. How do you replace 15 touchdowns from Jalen Hyatt a year ago? And, I think you look at this offense, you look at what Josh Heupel does, I think it's fair to question, do we get the same production out of Joe Milton that we got out of Hendo Cinco, right? They're 2 different quarterbacks. Joe really likes to stay in that pocket, let the play develop. We've talked a lot about the offensive line, how they're going to have to be able to hold up, allow Joe to make his throws. Something that excites me coming out of the scrimmage yesterday, Tennessee having a lot of success running the football. And I just made a video a week or so ago talking about how Joe can have success if the running game has success, if the defense has success. Those are factors that are going to play into Joe Milton, but the offensive line also has to be able to protect him, keep him upright. So when you talk about replacing Hendo Cinco's production, I think that's a fair question. I think we could say we don't know. We keep asking ourselves, and maybe it's battered Vol syndrome, do we get Bowling Green Joe or do we get Orange Bowl Joe? You guys jump into the comments. Let me know how confident you are in Joe Milton. As far as Jalen Hyatt, not concerned in the least. I think you look at this wide receiver room, Tennessee has a ton of talent. Who's going to be Jalen Hyatt in 2023? I think it could be several guys. I think Squirrel White could have an absolutely huge season. Dante Thornton, a guy that said he was clocked at 24.3 miles per hour a year ago at Oregon. Throw him in Josh Heupel's offense and let's scheme him wide open, and maybe we have another guy that's going to put up 5 touchdowns against Alabama and become an absolute legend at Tennessee. Ramel Keaton's got something to prove in 2023. Brew McCoy, I could see being the leading receiver, maybe not yardage-wise, maybe not touchdown-wise, but as far as pure receptions, I think Brew McCoy could be that guy. So when you look at returning production, I think Tennessee has a lot coming back. It also says recent recruiting and recent history. You know, I was having a conversation in the comments with somebody about recruiting, and they said Tennessee just keeps getting worse and worse, right? We know the narrative when Josh Heupel came in, class of 2022, NCAA investigation looming. How can Josh Heupel piece together a class? And this is when we talk about the depth that I mentioned at the top of the video. This is where it comes into play. The class of 2022, Josh Heupel's first class at Tennessee, finished 15th nationally. These numbers are coming from on3.com. Now, who are these players? Who was in the class of 22? They're going into their sophomore year. It's time for them to start contributing. And some of these guys at the top of that class, James Pierce, Tyree West, Addison Nichols, you know, those are guys. James Pierce was a guy that had a lot of buzz coming out of the scrimmage yesterday. Addison Nichols is a guy that's got a lot of run at center with the injury to Cooper Mays. Now, I don't know that he necessarily works himself into a starting job going into this season, but I think we need him for depth, especially, you know, if Cooper's not back in time, we are likely going to lean on Addison Nichols. Joshua Josephs, a guy that made plays as a freshman last year. Caleb Webb, a guy that got a lot of buzz again coming out of the scrimmage. Josh Heupel praising him, talking about the work he puts in, talking about how he is always in the building. D. Williams, what's D. Williams going to do? I don't know that D. Williams is going to find himself in the secondary, but I think he's a guy that can make some plays on special teams. Squirrel White going into his sophomore year. Dylan Sampson, Chaz Nimrod. A lot of these players from that first class that Josh Heupel put together are going to be leaned on in this upcoming season. But that's the class of 22. What about the class of 23? Year 2 of the Josh Heupel era. How did recruiting go? Are we improving? Are we getting worse? Tennessee up to 12th nationally a year ago, according to On3. But you signed the number 1 player in the country with Nico Iamaleava. I consider that a win and still moving forward. Also in that class, David Hobbs, these guys going into their freshman campaign, you're not really leaning on them, but this is how you start to build that depth when you start looking at 2024, 2025. David Hobbs, Nathan Laycock, we all know the story there. Went from an unknown 3-star to calling us 3-star U to a guy that was ranked higher than the guy that got all the buzz last year in Carnell Tate. Caleb Herring, Arian Carter, a guy that's likely going to make plays this upcoming year, probably going to end up in the 2 deep at linebacker. Cam Seldon, also a guy coming out of the scrimmage that was making a lot of noise. I think this coaching staff, as loaded as that running back room is with Jabari Small, with Jalen Wright, with Dylan Sampson, I think this coaching staff gonna find a way. They are going to find a way to get Cam Seldon involved. Shandavion Bradley, you guys know the class of 23. Again, finished 12th nationally according to On3. Now you move ahead to this upcoming class, the class of 24. Tennessee currently sitting at 8th. How do they finish that thing out? Can they close the deal with Jordan Ross? What about Chris Cole? He confirmed he is going to be taking a visit to Tennessee the day before his decision. The day before his decision, he is going to be on Rocky Top. I think that is huge. So when we go back to the article and we look, recent recruiting history, I think Tennessee, I don't think they're where they need to be, but we are moving in the right direction. The NCAA investigation is in the past, so I like where Tennessee sets up there. It says here, who do you have coming back? How good are the players replacing those you don't have coming back? That's loosely what we ask when we're setting expectations for a team. It's also what these projections attempt to do objectively. Kind of covered that as we went along there. Just looking at some of the guys that are back on this football team, particularly the wide receiver room. I think that wide receiver unit and also the running back unit is absolutely loaded with talent. The question mark is the offensive line, specifically with Cooper Mays banged up right now. Is he back for the opener? I don't think so. And I think they're going to be cautious. They're going to protect Cooper, and maybe he comes back for the Florida game, or maybe Coach Josh Heupel is just playing possum and not letting the opponent know that it's more serious than it actually is. We'll see when or if Cooper Mays makes it back on the field. Defensively, been talking a lot about it lately, but the front seven really showing up and showing out in this fall camp going into year 3. And the secondary, I just think they're going to be better, guys. Some people can agree with me. They can disagree with me. We talked a lot about this last night on the live stream. Well, it's the same guys, Boogie. They're going to suck. They're not good. They were terrible. We know the numbers from a year ago. Exactly. It's the same guys. They are developing. They are growing. We will see what they look like in 2023. But you roll down here, you take a look, final 2023 SP Plus preseason rankings. You've got Tennessee coming in right there at 8th. And let the jokes go ahead and fly, because as we've seen in some of the coaches polls, the AP polls, Clemson ranked right ahead of Tennessee. Of course, that sounds eerily familiar to the debacle with Alabama a year ago. Same record, Tennessee beats Alabama, but yet somehow, some way, they sneak ahead of Tennessee in the rankings. But jump to the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on replacing production. The guys coming back. Tennessee sitting at 8th in the SP Plus rankings there at the end. Also, man, you guys want this hat? Shout out to SoNashville.com. No sponsorship, no ads, no deal. You guys are just always asking about this hat. So I tweeted at them and they said, Boogie, let's give one away. They're going to give away a hat to somebody in this audience. But what you got to do, you got to join the channel. You got to hit the join button down below for as little as $1 a month. The more you give, the more times your name is going into the raffle. So if you join at the elite level, your name is going in 10 times. So you will have an opportunity between now and next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. When we go live, we will give away this hat. Again, SoNashville.com. Shout out to them for that. But also, you go check out our merch. Go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Gave away one of these last night to Joe Brown in the chat. Going to get that mailed out to him today. So shout out to Joe for the support. But again, guys, make sure you join the channel. You get access to custom Talkin VAWLS emojis, the fan call-in shows that are getting ready to get fired up, all kinds of perks and benefits come along with that. But you also support the channel, give me an opportunity to do this full-time, bring you guys as much content as possible. But that's going to do it for this one. If you can't donate, can't give, can't buy merch, that's fine. Smash the thumbs up, because that's quick, free, and easy. Jump to the comment section. Let's talk some Tennessee football, because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.